Hello everyone, I am Leela Prabhakar and I am from the Bodhi Academy. So today we'll continue with the chapter Environment and Sustainable Development. We have already done the part 1 of this, and in the part 1 we have discussed about functions and role of environment. Okay, now we'll move to the second part. Okay, and here we are going to discuss the state of India's environment, and then we'll discuss the third section which deals with the steps and strategies to achieve sustainable development. Okay, now, so earlier class we have discussed about the global warming, okay, why this happens, and then also we have learned about the ozone layer depletion. Okay, now we'll move to the state of India's environment. So now if you figure 7.3, if you see this picture, they have given deforestation leads to land degradation, biodiversity loss and air pollution. So because of deforestation, it means cutting the trees. Okay, this has led to a land degradation and a loss of biodiversity and air pollution. Now, so as we all know that India has got an abundance of natural resources in terms of rich quality of soil. Then we have got hundreds of rivers and tributaries, lush green forests are there, then plenty of mineral deposit beneath the land surface, vast stretch of Indian Ocean, ranges of mountain, etc. And also there are different types of soil which are available in Indian land. Okay, so the black soil of the Deccan Plateau is particularly suitable for cultivation of cotton, leading to concentration of textile industries in this region. And the Indo-Gangetic plains spread from Arabian Sea to the Bay of Bengal are one of the most fertile, intensively cultivated and densely populated regions in the world. Now, India's forest, if you see, it is so unevenly distributed, provide green cover for majority of its population, and there is a large majority of it is covered by wildlife. Okay, so large deposits of iron ore here we get, then we get a coal and natural gas are found in the country. So India accounts for nearly 8% of the world total iron ore reserves. Then also we get bauxite, copper, chromate, diamonds, gold, lead, lignite, manganese, zinc, uranium, etc. These are also available in different parts of the country. Okay. So however, the developmental activities in India have resulted in a pressure on its finite natural resources. Okay. Besides creating impacts on human health and well-being, the threat to India's environment poses a dichotomy. There is a dichotomy, that is threat of poverty, induced environmental degradation, and at the same time there is a threat of pollution from affluence and rapidly growing industrial sector. So we can say that because of the industrialization, okay, as India is growing so fast, we can see all these changes. Okay, and there are also a lot of deforestation which is going on. So this is what we'll discuss about over here. So threat of poverty induced environmental degradation, and at the same time threat of pollution from effluents and a rapidly growing industrial sector, air pollution, water contamination. Now all these things happens because of various other factors. Now water contamination, they are polluting the full water. Then soil erosion is happening, deforestation, wildlife extinction. So these are some of the most pressing environmental concerns of India. Now the priority issues identified over here, the first one is because of the land degradation, then biodiversity loss, air pollution with special reference to vehicular pollution in urban cities. Okay, then management of fresh water and the solid waste management. So land in India suffers from varying degrees and type of degradation stemming mainly from unstable use and inappropriate management practices. Okay. Then one more thing is given, that is uh, Chipko movement or APICO. What's in a name? Okay, so we'll discuss this, but first we'll cover some of the other factors responsible for land degradation. It's because of deforestation, cutting of trees. Then we use forest uh, fuel, then wood, okay, fodder extraction, shifting cultivation, okay, shifting cultivation or the zooming cultivation, what we can say, or kumeri cultivation. Then encroachment into forest land, forest fires, overgrazing of land. So these are some of the factors which are responsible for land degradation. Okay, non-adoption of adequate soil conservation measures, then improper crop rotation, or chemical fertilizers and all we use it in abundance. So this what happens to this when we use chemicals or fertilizers in abundance? So that time the soil fertility gets lost. Okay, improper planning and management of irrigation system, extraction of groundwater in the competing use of land for forestry. Then agriculture, pastures, human settlement and industries exert an enormous pressure on the country's finite land resources. Okay, so if we move to the per capita forest land in the country, it is only to 0.06 hectare, okay, against the requirement of 0.47 hectare to meet the basic needs. Now this resulting in an excess felling of about 15 million cubic meter forest over the permissible limit. Okay, now we'll discuss the this chipko movement. So we all are aware about the chipko movement, okay, which aimed at protecting the forest in the Himalayas. Okay, so in Karnataka, a similar movement took a different name. Okay, the name is Apiko, which means to hug. So what they did is they just hug the tree so that they should not cut the trees. Okay, so this happened on 8 September 1983 when the felling of trees was started in Salkani forest in Sirsi district. Okay, so 160 men, women and children hugged the trees and they forced the woodcutters to leave. Okay, so they hugged the tree and they told the woodcutters to leave, otherwise they kept the vigil in the forest over the, so they waited over there for next 6 weeks. Only after the forest official assured the volunteers that trees will be cut scientifically and not in accordance with the working plan of the district did they leave the trees. Okay, so only after the assurance of the officials they leave that place. So when commercial felling by contractors damaged a large number of natural forests, the idea of hugging the trees gave the people hope and confidence that they can protect the forest. Okay, so this idea came up, they came up with this idea so that at least their forest can be protected, no, because we all are dependent on forest. So on that particular incident with the felling discontinued, the people saved almost 12,000 trees they saved and within months this movement spread to many adjoining districts. So indiscriminate felling of trees for fuel wood and for industrial use has led to many environmental problems. 12 years after setting up of a paper mill in Uttar Kannada area, bamboo has been wiped out from that area, okay, and broad-leaved trees which protected the soil from the direct onslaught of rain have been removed. The soil washed away and a bare laterite soil left behind. Now nothing grows but a weed over there, says a farmer. So this is what has happened when they cut the trees. Farmers also complain that rivers and rivulets dry up quicker and that rainfall is becoming erratic. Diseases and insects earlier unknown are now attacking the crops. So APICO volunteers want the contractors and forest officials to follow certain rules and restrictions. So for instance, local people should be consulted when trees are marked for felling and trees within 100 meters of water source and on a slope of 30 degrees or above should not be cut. Okay, like they said. But do you know that the government allocates forest land to industries use forest material as industrial raw material? So even the government they distribute the forest land to industries so that they can use that particular material, raw material, they can use it for the industrial work. So even if a paper mill employs 10,000 workers and a plywood factory employs 800 people, but if they deprive the daily needs of million people, is it acceptable? So this is the question you have to think. So experts, this is given from the State of India's Environment to the second citizen report 1984-85. Okay. So we'll move to the next part. Estimates of soil erosion show that soil is being eroded at a rate of 5.3 billion tons a year for the entire excess of the recharge capacity, then open access resource, poverty of the agriculture dependent people, etc. India supports approximately 17% of the world human and 20% of livestock population on a mere 2.5% of the world geographical area. The high density of population and livestock in a country as a result of which the country loses 0.8 million tons of nitrogen. Okay, it is. So here in this para they have discussed that there is 17% of the world human and 20% of livestock population on a mere 2.5% of the world geographical area, and there is a high density of population and livestock. Okay. So to in order to feed everyone, you will require a more land. Okay. So pollution control boards, here one more thing is given. In order to address two major environmental concerns in India, water and air pollution, the government set up a Central Pollution Control Board, okay, in 1974. This was followed by states establishing their own state level board to address all the environmental concerns. They investigate, collect and disseminate information relating to water, air and land pollution, lay down standard for sewage trade, effluent and emission. These boards provide technical assistance to government in promoting cleanliness of streams and wells by prevention, control and abatement of water pollution. So these boards also carry out the investigation and research relating to the problems of water and air pollution, and they organize awareness programs also. Okay, and also their main job is to assess the air quality through regulation of industries. In fact, state boards through their district level official periodically inspect every industry under their jurisdiction to assess the adequacy of treatment measures provided to treat the effluent and gaseous emissions. Now, the pollution control boards collect and disseminate technical and statistical data relating to water pollution. They monitor the quality of water in 125 rivers, wells, lakes, creeks, ponds, etc. So in India, air pollution is widespread in urban areas where vehicles are the major contributors. So if you see in urban areas, lot of pollution, air pollution happens because of the vehicular movement, and these have a high concentration. Also, they got urban areas got a high concentration of industries and some thermal power plants. Okay, so vehicular emissions are of particular concern since these are ground level sources. Okay, and the maximum impact which happens is on general population, okay, or on the people. The number of motor vehicle has increased from about 3 lakh in 1951 to 30 crores in 2019. So in 2016, personal transport vehicle, that is two-wheeled vehicle and car, constitute about 85% of the total number of registered vehicle, thus contributing significantly to total air pollution load. India is one of the 10 most industrialized nations of the world, and this status has brought with it unwanted and unanticipated consequences such as unplanned or urbanization, pollution and the risk of accidents. So the Central Pollution Control Board has identified the 17 categories of industries, okay, large and medium scale. Then the So the above points, these highlight the challenges to India's environment, the various measures adopted by the Ministry of Environment and central and state pollution control boards may not yield reward unless we consciously adopt a path of sustainable development. The concern for future generation alone can make a development last forever. Okay, so development to enhance our current living styles without concern for posterity will deplete resources and degrade environment at a pace that is bound to result in both environmental and economic crisis. Then we'll move to the next part, that is sustainable development. It is nothing but conserving for the future, we can say. Okay, then we'll also learn strategies for sustainable development. Okay, so sustainable development, now if you see environment and economy, these are interdependent on each other. So hence development that ignores its repercussions on the environment will destroy the environment, right? So what is needed is sustainable development that will allow all future generations to have a potential average quality of life that is at least as high as that which is being enjoyed by the current generation. The concept of sustainable development, this was given by United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, UNCED, which defined it as development that meets the need of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. Now, here we'll notice that the term need and the phrase future generation in the definition are catchy phrases, right? The use of concept needs in the definition is linked to distribution of resources. Okay, the seminal report Our Common Future that gave the above definition explained sustainable development as meeting the basic need of all and extending to all the opportunity to satisfy their aspirations for better life. Meeting the need of all requires redistributing resources and is hence a moral issue. Edward Barbell defined sustainable development as one which is directly concerned with increasing the material standard of living of the poor at the grassroots level. This can be quantitatively measured in terms of increased income, real income, then educational services, healthcare, sanitation, water supply and all. So sustainable development aims at decreasing the absolute poverty of the poor by providing lasting and secure livelihoods. Then environmental degradation, cultural disruption, social instability. Sustainable development is in this sense a development that meets the basic needs for all, okay, particularly the poor people, like employment, food, energy, water, housing, and ensures growth of agriculture, manufacturing, power and services to meet these needs. Then the next is the Brundtland Commission emphasizes on protecting the future generation, and this is in line with the argument of the environmentalists who emphasize that we have a moral obligation to hand over the planet Earth in good order to the future generation. Okay, so the present generation should be bequeath a better environment to the future generation. So at least we should leave to the next generation a stock of quality of life, and they should also know what a quality of life we got right now at the present moment. Okay, so they also should experience all these things. Okay, so this is with regards to sustainable development. So the present generation, they should promote they should conserve the natural asset, okay, and they should preserve the preservation of the regenerative capacity of the world's natural ecological system. Then they should avoiding the imposition of added cost or risks on future generation. Now, according to Herman Daly, a leading environmental economist, to achieve sustainable development, the following needs to be done. Now, in order to achieve a sustainable development, we need to follow some things, that is limiting the human population, then within the carrying capacity of the environment. Now, the carrying capacity is like Pilmsole line of the ship, which is if it lower, there is a remark, no, that only this much limit is there in order to load in the ship. So in the absence of Pilmsole line for the economy, human scale, what will happen is it will grow up, okay, over the time. So then beyond the carrying capacity of the earth and deviates from sustainable development, technological progress should be input efficient and not input consuming. Then renewable resources should be extracted on a sustainable basis, that is rate of extraction should not exceed rate of Regeneration. Then non-renewable resources rate of depletion should not exceed the rate of creation of renewable substitutes. Inefficiencies arising from pollution should be corrected. Now in 2015, the UN formulated 17 sustainable development goals intend to be achieved by the year 2030. Okay. For the next class, we'll discuss the strategies for sustainable development. Thank you for watching my video.